Have you ever felt that, even when trying to do good, you were wronged, hurt, or even wounded by those who should have been by your side? What if I told you that God saw everything, and that no injustice against a chosen one goes unnoticed? Today, you will discover something amazing. What happens when someone touches a chosen one, and how divine justice acts in a powerful and transformative way. This is the moment to understand the truth that will change your life. Stay with me, because the revelation that comes next may be the answer you've been seeking about your purpose, your pain, and the divine love that never fails. How many times have you tried to help someone and ended up feeling used or even hurt? Maybe you gave your best, acted with love, but in the end, you were hurt by the very people you tried to support. It hurts, doesn't it? And sometimes you wonder, is it worth continuing? Why does this happen to me? If these questions have crossed your mind, know that you are not alone. This is a reality that many chosen ones face, and there is a greater reason behind it. What seems like an unfair struggle is actually part of a divine plan that is molding and protecting you for something much greater than you can imagine. In this video, you will understand not only what happens to those who dare to attack a chosen one, but also how this spiritual protection reveals the divine power operating in your life. There is a greater reason for everything you have been through, and today we will uncover how these experiences are actually part of a divine plan to transform you and lead you to the purpose God has prepared for you. Stay with me until the end, because the answer you are looking for will transform your view of your own journey. Chosen ones are those who have been called by God to fulfill a mission. They are not perfect, but they carry within them an extraordinary strength, a spiritual connection that sets them apart. Most of them face battles early on, rejections, judgments, financial difficulties, and loneliness. But even in the midst of these struggles, there is something within them that shines, a light that cannot be extinguished. Chosen ones are those whom God uses to transform environments, to deliver messages, and to serve as instruments of His will on earth. The chosen ones possess remarkable characteristics that go beyond the physical or emotional. They have a keen intuition, a spiritual sensitivity that guides them in times of difficulty. Many report hearing God's voice or receiving clear signs about the next steps in their journeys. Additionally, they face constant spiritual resistance as they are targets of the enemy. But it is precisely in this battle that their characteristics stand out: unwavering faith, courage in the face of adversity, and an inner peace that defies the chaos around them. God does not choose people by chance. Each chosen one has a unique purpose, and it is this mission that makes them so special. Some are called to inspire, others to teach or heal. Whatever the task, it always aims to benefit the collective, to bring light to places where there is darkness. That is why the chosen ones often go through painful periods of preparation. It is in this fire that God molds their character and strengthens them for the mission ahead. One of the most impressive marks of the chosen ones is the divine protection that accompanies them. God promises in His word that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54 verse 17. This promise applies especially to them. No matter how severe the attack or the attempt at destruction, the chosen ones have an invisible shield around them, a protection that goes beyond human understanding. But what happens to those who dare to touch a chosen one? That is what we will talk about. The Bible is full of stories that illustrate what happens when someone tries to harm a chosen one. Remember Joseph, sold by his own brothers. Despite all attempts to bring him down, God elevated him to the position of governor of Egypt. Or the case of David, pursued by King Saul, but always protected and guided by God. These stories show that touching a chosen one is not only risky, it is challenging to the divine will. God has a habit of turning attacks against His chosen ones into victories. But being chosen is not just about privileges. It is also about responsibility. The chosen ones carry the weight of their mission and face constant struggles to remain steadfast in their faith. They are watched, judged, and often misunderstood. Yet, it is this responsibility that connects them even more with God. They know they are not alone, and that their strength comes from a greater source that never abandons them. When someone attacks a chosen one, they are not just confronting that person, they are challenging God Himself. And that has consequences. Divine justice may not be immediate, but it always arrives. It can manifest in spiritual retributions, situations that reveal the committed error, or unexpected transformations in the life of the one who tried to harm the chosen one. God always acts, and His protection is a reminder that the chosen ones are not alone. Chosen one, this is a moment of reflection. Understand that you are not alone, that there is a greater purpose in your life, and that God is with you in every battle. For those who might have intended to touch a chosen one, think twice. Do not underestimate divine protection, for it is real and powerful. Perhaps you have noticed that your life has been marked by constant challenges. No matter how hard you try, it seems that the world is always testing you. It could be that unexpected betrayal, a financial problem that arises out of nowhere, or even close people who suddenly become sources of pain. But what if I told you that these struggles are not random? What if, in reality, they are proof of the power you carry as a chosen one? The weight you feel is not weakness, but an indication that there is something very special about you. The challenges you face are not signs of abandonment or punishment. On the contrary, they indicate that your life has a greater purpose. Chosen ones do not have easy journeys because they are molded for something grand. Difficulties are not a demonstration that you are lost, but a preparation for you to achieve what you were destined to accomplish. Each obstacle is like a piece of the puzzle that, in the end, reveals the complete picture of your divine mission. God never chooses someone without a purpose. He sees in you the potential that perhaps you cannot see yourself. Each struggle you face is actually a reminder that you have been set apart for something greater. Think about it. Attacks do not come against emptiness, but against what is value. The enemy recognizes your light, and that is why he tries to dim your shine. But know this, God protects his chosen ones in ways that go beyond what human eyes can see. Reflect for a moment on your experiences. How many times have you felt that you had no strength to continue, yet you still rose up? That is not by chance. It is a sign that there is something much greater operating in your life. Each rejection, each closed door, was God redirecting you to something better. Chosen ones have a unique path, and although it can be lonely at times, it is always guided by divine hands. The difficulties you face have a specific purpose, to strengthen you. Imagine that each challenge is like the fire that purifies gold. Difficult situations are not meant to destroy you, but to reveal who you really are. You are like a spiritual weapon being prepared for battle, and each fight is training that brings you closer to your final purpose. Maybe you cannot see it, but there is an invisible force working in your favor. God observes every injustice, every attack, every tear you shed in silence, and he promises justice for those who touch his chosen ones. No battle goes unnoticed by the Creator's eyes. And believe me, when God intervenes, the reward for you is as great as the consequence for those who tried to bring you down. Many times, those who attack the chosen ones do not realize the price they are paying. Touching a chosen one is like declaring war on God himself. The divine protection that surrounds the chosen ones is impressive. And when someone dares to cross that barrier, the consequences are inevitable. God does not ignore the pain of his, and he is faithful to act in defense of those he has chosen. Have you ever wondered why you are constantly tested? This happens because you carry a unique identity. Chosen ones do not live ordinary lives because they are not destined for ordinary purposes. Your story, your pains, and even your traumas are part of a larger narrative written by God to impact the world in a way that no one else could. Recognizing who you are as a chosen one is a turning point. When you understand that difficulties are part of a divine plan, you begin to face them differently. They cease to be a burden and become an opportunity for growth and victory. You realize that instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the right question is, "What does God want me to learn from this?" Now that you understand the power and purpose behind your struggles, it is time to accept your identity as a chosen one. This means trusting that God is in control, even when everything seems difficult. It also means understanding that every attack is a confirmation that you are special, that you are on the right path. And above all, it means living with the certainty that God takes care of you, and that no one can touch a chosen one without facing the consequences. Since the dawn of humanity, stories of people chosen by God carry a central element: the respect and reverence these figures inspire, not only for their actions but for the way they are supernaturally protected. The idea that touching a chosen one can have serious consequences is not just a lesson in faith, but also a warning about the strength of the divine purpose. The story of David and Goliath is a classic example of this. While the young shepherd seemed defenseless against the Philistine giant, it was his faith in God that turned the tide. Goliath did not fall merely because of a stone. He was brought down because he challenged not just David, but the very divine purpose that rested upon the chosen one. Another powerful example comes from the journey of Moses, chosen to liberate the Hebrew people from Egyptian captivity. Pharaoh tried to resist the divine mission, facing numerous plagues that demonstrated God's power in protecting and guiding his chosen one. Moses not only survived assassination attempts as a baby, but also successfully led the crossing of the Red Sea, a clear demonstration that those who attempt to block the path of a chosen one face inevitable consequences. These stories show us that respect for the divine purpose transcends even the limits of human logic. In modern life, we still see chosen ones being protected in inexplicable ways. Who hasn't heard stories of people who, through faith, overcame incurable diseases, avoided fatal accidents, or found miraculous solutions to seemingly insoluble problems? These testimonies reinforce that God continues to act protectively, ensuring that plans for the chosen ones are not thwarted. It's as if there is an invisible hand guiding and protecting those who carry the seal of purpose. One of the most impressive characteristics of divine protection is the immediate justice that seems to fall upon those who try to harm a chosen one. Just as Goliath paid the price for his challenge, many encounter difficulties, losses, or painful lessons when they try to interfere with divine plans. This does not mean that God is vengeful, but that his purpose is non-negotiable. The protection offered to the chosen ones is not just a privilege, but also a reminder to all that respect for the divine is essential. We live in an era where spirituality is often put aside, but the principles governing the divine protection of the chosen ones remain active. In everyday situations, chosen ones may face verbal attacks, envy, or even unjust persecutions. However, God continues to show that his justice does not sleep. Those who touch the chosen ones often see their actions backfire, as if the universe itself is aligned to ensure that no permanent harm falls upon the chosen one. What many people do not realize is that this protection is not limited to a specific group or religion. Divine love is available to all who align themselves with his purpose and his truth. Chosen ones exist in all cultures, beliefs, and contexts, and respect for the divine plan should be equally universal. It is a reminder that the divine acts to protect the mission of those who live to serve the greater good, regardless of religious barriers. While divine protection is a promise for the chosen ones, it should not be used as a reason for arrogance or superiority. On the contrary, stories like that of David teach us about the importance of humility. David never boasted of his victory over Goliath, for he knew that the glory belonged to God. This serves as a reminder that respect and reverence for the divine should not generate fear, but rather a profound admiration for the way God works through his chosen ones. Divine protection is directly linked to the unwavering faith that the chosen ones have in God. This connection is what strengthens them and enables them to face seemingly insurmountable challenges. Just as Moses trusted God in leading the Hebrews out of Egypt, today, chosen ones are called to trust in the divine plan, even when everything seems to be falling apart. This faith is what activates God's protective power, creating a spiritual shield against the world's attacks. When a chosen one is protected, it is not just he who benefits. Those around him can also witness and experience this protection. The plagues in Egypt, for example, affected only the oppressors, while God's people remained untouched. Similarly, the divine protection over the chosen ones today can bring blessings to their families, friends, and even entire communities, showing that God's purpose is greater than the individual. The story of the chosen ones and the divine protection that surrounds them is a reminder to all of us about the importance of respecting divine purposes. Touching a chosen one is not just challenging a person, it is challenging God's own plan. When we understand this, we learn to live with more empathy, humility, and reverence for the divine. This message is universal and timeless, showing that respect for the greater plan is a lesson that remains valid, regardless of the era in which we live. The chosen ones are not just protected because they are special, but because they carry a mission of spiritual and social impact. Just as Moses was called to free an entire people, many chosen ones today play fundamental roles in their communities, families, and even on larger scales. These missions can range from small acts of kindness to transformative leadership. The common point is that when a chosen one is protected, it is because their mission is closely connected to God's greater plan. This plan often transcends the individual, extending to benefit a wider circle of people, bringing hope, healing, and transformation. The divine protection of the chosen ones also functions as a shield against the injustices of the world. We live in times where people with malicious intentions try to harm those who follow paths of light and purpose. However, scriptures and modern testimonies show that God is an unwavering defender of the chosen ones. That is why many attacks and traps end up failing, while the chosen ones remain standing, strengthened by faith and divine love. This protection does not mean an absence of challenges, but the certainty that no obstacle will be able to destroy what God is building in the life of those He has chosen. The universe itself becomes an ally of the chosen ones, acting as an extension of the divine will. Events that seem like coincidences end up revealing themselves as part of a greater plan, showing that the cosmos conspires to protect and strengthen those who walk in alignment with their mission. Chosen ones often report inexplicable signs, deliverances, and situations where something beyond human understanding intervened in their favor. This reinforces the idea that divine protection transcends religious, cultural, and geographical barriers, acting as a universal force in the service of good. Although being protected by God is a privilege, it also carries a weight of responsibility. The chosen ones are called to live with integrity, compassion, and obedience to divine principles, as their lives serve as an example and inspiration to others. Just as David faced constant challenges even after defeating Goliath, today's chosen ones also face pressures and tests that shape their character. Divine protection does not exempt them from responsibilities. On the contrary, it requires the chosen ones to always be aligned with their mission and committed to doing good, regardless of circumstances. By understanding the origin of the respect and divine reverence that surround the chosen ones, we also connect with the deeper message of these stories. God never abandons those He has chosen. Whether in the past with leaders like Moses and David, or in the present day with ordinary people living extraordinary missions, divine protection continues to be a living testimony of the power of purpose. For those who are going through difficulties or attacks, remember, God not only sees your struggle, but also acts as your shield, ensuring that everything destined for you will be fulfilled at the right time. Touching a chosen one is touching God's plan, and that plan is unbreakable. Often, spiritual attacks are subtle and may go unnoticed if you do not know what to look for. As a chosen one, you may feel extreme fatigue without apparent cause, mental confusion that makes decision-making difficult, or even inexplicable feelings of anxiety or fear. These signs may be accompanied by disturbing dreams or a sense of spiritual heaviness, as if something invisible is trying to pull you down. It is important to understand that these manifestations are not coincidences. They often arise when you are about to achieve a major spiritual breakthrough. Recognizing these signs is the first step to protecting yourself. Another indicator of a spiritual attack can be sudden disorder in your relationships. Unexpected arguments, frequent misunderstandings, and distancing from close people are ways in which external forces try to create isolation and demotivation. God allows these situations to reveal the true intentions of the people around you, but it is up to you to discern what is a lesson and what is a spiritual trap. Always seek inner peace as a spiritual thermometer. If something robs you of your peace, it may be a sign of an attack. In addition, financial blockages and seemingly lost opportunities can be signs that you are under attack. The spiritual battle can involve barriers that prevent you from accessing the resources needed to fulfill your mission. In these moments, it is essential to remember that God never abandons you and that every delay has a divine purpose. Recognizing that your prosperity is being tested is a call to reinforce your faith and keep persevering. One of the most powerful tools to protect yourself against spiritual attacks is prayer. However, it is not just about repeating words. It is about establishing an intimate and genuine connection with God. Choose a moment in your day to pray with intention, asking for protection, clarity, and strength. Imagine a divine light surrounding you, blocking any negative energy. This practice, done daily, can create a spiritual shield that keeps you steadfast. Another highly effective practice is spiritual fasting. Fasting is not just about abstaining from food. It is an act of sacrifice and surrender that amplifies your connection with God. During the fast, ask for clear revelations about the challenges you are facing and how to overcome them. This discipline helps silence spiritual noise and make room for God's voice to be heard clearly in your life. Daily reading of the Bible or inspiring texts is also fundamental. Choose passages that strengthen your faith and remind you of your purpose. Memorize verses that can be used as declarations of power in times of difficulty. The Word of God is not just a guide. It is a spiritual weapon that can destroy any attack from darkness against you. Consistency is the key to reinforcing your spiritual protection. Establish a routine that includes moments of meditation, praise, and gratitude. Even on challenging days, commit to maintaining this connection with God. By doing so, you build a spiritual fortress that is resilient to life's storms. Another important element is surrounding yourself with people who share your faith and understand the path of the chosen one. These connections offer emotional and spiritual support, creating a network of mutual protection. Remember, God sends allies in times of need. Do not hesitate to seek fellowship with those who strengthen your journey. Even when the battles seem intense, it is essential to remember that God never allows you to face something greater than you can bear. The difficulties are, in fact, tools for growth and learning. They test your resilience and reinforce your connection with the divine. Believe that every struggle has a purpose and that you will come out of it stronger and prepared for your mission. Know that you are never alone. God is by your side, guiding each step, even in the darkest moments. He knows your strength and your ability to overcome any challenge. When you understand that you are part of a greater plan, the battles become opportunities to demonstrate your faith and witness God's power. Use the tools He has given you and trust the process, knowing that the victory is already guaranteed. God does not leave His chosen ones helpless. When someone tries to touch a chosen one, driven by envy, malice, or ignorance, something happens in the spiritual realm that few can understand. Have you ever wondered why some people face such severe consequences after harming someone seemingly ordinary? It's because that person carries a heavenly purpose. Now, you will understand how God acts, revealing that His action is more than punishment. It is a manifestation of divine justice. Get ready for a deep dive. The chosen ones live surrounded by a circle of protection that is not visible to the human eye, but is fully active in the spiritual world. This protection is a reflection of God's commitment to His chosen children. When someone tries to interfere with the purpose of a chosen one, they not only face the natural consequences of their actions, but God Himself rises to protect His plan. This does not mean that the chosen one will not face challenges, but that every attempt to harm them becomes an opportunity for God to demonstrate His strength and faithfulness. God does not allow His children to be destroyed by external forces, because He has already written the end of the story. And the end always points to the victory of the chosen one. What happens when someone touches a chosen one is not just a matter of retaliation. God transforms the situation, using even evil intentions to fulfill His purposes. Remember the story of Joseph in Egypt. His own brothers sold him into slavery, but God used that evil to elevate him to one of the highest positions in the Egyptian government. The lesson here is clear: no one can frustrate God's plans. Those who try to attack a chosen one end up facing a God who turns curses into blessings. Attacking a chosen one is not just a physical or emotional act. It is a direct affront to the divine plan. The spiritual world responds severely because touching a chosen one is like touching God's masterpiece. He is shaping that life for something grand, and any malignant interference is immediately detected and confronted. It is like an invisible wall that rises around the chosen one, ready to neutralize any threat. God does not act just to protect the chosen one. He acts to ensure that the purpose is fulfilled. This means that even the most difficult situations faced by the chosen ones, often caused by external attacks, are transformed into tools for growth and spiritual elevation. What seems like a defeat becomes the foundation for an even greater victory. God never abandons a chosen one in the midst of the storm. He uses the storm to teach, shape, and strengthen. What God does when someone touches a chosen one inspires both fear and admiration. On the one hand, it is impressive to see how He acts precisely, turning adverse situations into miracles. On the other hand, it is a solemn reminder that no one can play with what is sacred. The chosen ones are instruments in God's hands, and touching them is meddling with the essence of the divine mission. And when God steps in, there is no human or spiritual force capable of stopping Him. Often, God does not act visibly or immediately, but His justice is infallible. People who harm the chosen ones may not immediately perceive the consequences, but over time, the harvest of their actions is inevitable. Meanwhile, the chosen one continues forward, growing and prospering, proving that God's plan is always greater than any attack. This silent but powerful justice is one of the most impressive ways God shows His dominion over all things. God not only protects the chosen one, He also uses these situations to teach something to the aggressor. Those who try to harm a chosen one often end up facing a journey of reflection and repentance. It's as if God says, "I am the Lord, and you cannot interfere with what I am doing." This intervention is not just about punishment, but also about redirection, giving these people the opportunity to understand their mistake and transform. What God does when someone touches a chosen one is deeper than we can imagine. He does not act only to protect. He acts to transform, to restore, and to ensure that his justice is fulfilled. The chosen one emerges stronger, and those who tried to harm them, if willing, can come out transformed. God is just, and his purpose always prevails, showing that touching a chosen one is touching something sacred, and that has a price. When a chosen one faces challenges, it's easy to question why so much adversity falls upon their life. But in reality, each experience, be it an attack, betrayal, or a situation of extreme difficulty, has a deep purpose. God uses these situations not to destroy you, but to shape you. Each blow you face is like a hammer forging a sword, transforming you into a sharp and powerful tool, ready to fulfill the divine purpose. Being chosen is not just a title or a privilege, it is a mission. And to fulfill this mission, you need to be prepared. The attacks you suffer, whether spiritual, emotional, or physical, are ways God strengthens you. He does not allow you to live these situations in vain. Every tear shed, every battle faced, is taking you to a higher level of faith, resilience, and spiritual power. Often, the chosen ones feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. It is as if each attack is an attempt to divert you from your path. But know this, those who attack you do not understand that they are actually helping to fulfill God's plan in your life. Each obstacle pushes you closer to the divine purpose, and that is why the chosen one is like gold, refined by the fire of adversities. The experiences of attack teach lessons that cannot be learned otherwise. They develop in you skills like patience, humility, wisdom, and trust in God. It is in this process that you realize you are not alone. God is by your side in every battle, sustaining you, guiding you, and giving you strength to continue. And the more you trust him, the clearer your purpose becomes. God never allows a chosen one to be brought down without first preparing a great plan of redemption. The difficulties you face are springboards for what is to come. As you go through these challenges, you discover your true strength and learn that, with God, you are unshakable. And this is not just for you. It is a living testimony to those around you, showing what it is to live a life of faith and purpose. Everything you have been through so far has a reason. No matter how difficult it has been, each experience was a preparation. God is using every moment of pain, every trial, to build a solid foundation in your life. What seems to be a temporary defeat is actually part of the elevation process. Remember, the chosen one is never defeated, he is molded to win. This transformation is not just personal, it also impacts your relationship with the world. As you grow spiritually and strengthen emotionally, you become a light for others. Your journey inspires those around you, showing that it is possible to overcome difficulties and achieve the purpose that God has designated for each of us. But the transformation of the chosen ones does not happen automatically. It is necessary to recognize God's signs and allow him to work in your life. This means embracing challenges with faith, rather than giving in to despair. Each battle is an opportunity to connect more deeply with God, to understand his purpose, and to become the person he has called you to be. If you are facing struggles now, know that it is not the end. It is the beginning of something greater. God is preparing you for extraordinary things, something you still cannot fully comprehend. Your suffering, your struggles, are seeds that God is planting. And when the time is right, you will see the harvest, a harvest of victory, fulfillment, and purpose. To apply this in your life, start now to look at challenges as opportunities. Ask yourself, what is God teaching me through this? Seek strength in prayer and reading the Word, and never forget that you are not alone. You are chosen, and God has already prepared everything you need to overcome each obstacle and live the extraordinary purpose he has for you. Put this into practice, and you will see the transformation happen. And what does God do when someone touches a chosen one? Get ready, because what I am going to share next will open your eyes to understand how God acts in an impressive way when someone dares to touch a chosen one. God does not remain inert when a chosen one is attacked. He observes, acts, and above all, protects. When someone touches a chosen one, it is not just a physical or emotional act. It is a spiritual event that triggers divine intervention. God promised in his word that his chosen ones are the apple of his eye. When someone strikes them, it is as if they are touching God directly, and that brings inevitable consequences. God's intervention can come in various forms, but it always reflects his perfect justice. Sometimes he allows the chosen one to see justice happen before their eyes, but on other occasions, God works behind the scenes, undoing traps, thwarting plans, and turning evil into blessing. It is impressive how he turns chaos into opportunity, using even the enemy's intentions to exalt his chosen ones. Divine protection is immeasurable. No matter how intense the attacks are, it is impossible for any person or force to break the chosen one without God's permission. It is as if there were an invisible wall around those who are called. Enemies may try, but they end up exhausted and frustrated because no one can fight against God and emerge victorious. When God acts, he also brings justice. This justice may not be immediate in human eyes, but it is infallible. God knows the heart of each person, and he knows what is necessary to correct or remove those who try to interfere with the chosen one's purpose. Often, the attack on the chosen one turns into a lesson for those who attempted to harm them, showing that toying with the divine plan is a dangerous path. More than protection and justice, God brings honor to the life of the chosen one. The people who tried to bring you down end up witnessing your rise. It is common to see those who despised you being forced to recognize God's power in your life. It's like the biblical promise: God prepares a table for you in the presence of your enemies. Now think about this. Every struggle you faced has a purpose. There is no attack that God allows without a greater reason. He is shaping you, yes, but he is also showing the world that no one can touch a chosen one and get away with it. Every tear you shed was seen, and every injustice will be corrected. God always takes care of his own. This is the moment for you to reflect on the battles you have faced. Each one of them was allowed by God to take you to the next level, but also to show the world who is on your side. And those against you? Well, they face the spiritual consequences of going against someone who carries the divine mark. No one can touch a chosen one without awakening God's action. This does not mean that the chosen one will not be attacked, but that the attack will be transformed into something greater. Perhaps you are wondering why God allows you to face so many struggles. The answer is clear. He trusts you, and he knows that each battle will be won because he fights by your side. God is faithful. He does not abandon his own, and each attack is an opportunity for him to manifest his power and glory. Those who touch a chosen one do not only face human consequences, but also spiritual ones. It is impossible to challenge God's plan and not reap the fruits of that challenge. If you have come this far, it is because something inside you knows that you are also a chosen one. Every battle you faced, every tear you shed, was part of a greater plan that God prepared to shape your character and strengthen your faith. You carry a unique mark, and that mark attracts challenges, but also the divine protection and justice that surround you at every moment. Share your story in the comments. Tell how God has acted in your life, even in the most difficult moments. This is your opportunity to inspire other chosen ones, create connections, and strengthen this community of faith and purpose. Together, we are living witnesses that God never abandons his own and always turns our struggles into victories. Thank you for staying with me until now. If this content resonated with your heart, follow the channel, like, and share this video with those who might also identify with it. If you want to discover why your family keeps judging you, the next video is for you. Click now and find out.